Mr. Fast J writes, have you ever watched any movies based on books where the movie is much better than the book? The movie that I think is better than the play is Glengarry Glen Ross. The original play has a kind of a weird ending that portrays Ricky Roma as this really ruthless opportunist. And David Mamet, who wrote the screenplay for the movie, changed that, and he made Roma at the end more this kind of aloof character who's kind of above it all.
Yeah.
I think it's a better way to end the story, just with a lighter touch.
And the play doesn't have the man from downtown at the beginning of it giving a speech. And Alec Baldwin, of course, is,
That's like a career-making performance for Alec Baldwin.
And he already had a career. When I first read the play, I had no idea what it was about, and I didn't know anything about real estate, so I was like, what's going on? Why are they in a Chinese restaurant? What are they talking about? What's a lead? That really shows what the entire story is about, just in that monologue.
Mm-hmm. How do we end this? Funny faces?
I don't got anything.
That's not really... I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode, I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good. It might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. Welcome to August, as we present to you a look back in August, where we examine some of the themes that we've looked at. Where we revisit some of the themes that we've done in past episodes. Last time I broke out the old Cineplexity game, and I gave Craig a challenge for tonight's movie. The two criteria for the film are science fiction, and title begins with M through S. What do you got?
There are a few things that say science fiction more than the mad scientist Dr. Victor Frankenstein, but I have already seen all the major Frankenstein movies, and it begins with the letter F.
Son of Frankenstein.
Son of Frankenstein?
Begins with an S.
Yeah, thanks. There is something, though, that features a lab, and a creature, and humans playing God, and it begins with S. And that is Splice.
No, I thought it was going to be Soylent Green.
Soylent Green?
Green.
Oh, no, it's Canadian and has a woman in it. So I picked a Joni Mitchell. Here you go. Gotta be ready for that.
You spliced me.
Released in 2009, this sci-fi horror movie stars one-time Oscar winner Adrian Brody and four-time Canadian Genie winner Sarah Polley. Director Vincenzo Natali had the idea for Splice in 1997 while working on his first movie, Cube. He then had to wait over a decade to film it because the technology for making it had not been invented yet. After seeing this, you might want a little monster for yourself.
Oh, he's so scary. Mr. Franken. Senator Al Franken. He's changed.
So yeah, these are little voodoo dolls. I don't really get them, but now you've got one. So won't you come on over to the laboratory we call the Big Leather Couch for the Canadian movie Splice.
We're traveling through the lower intestine, and there's a polyp. That's Adrian Brody. His name has been tattooed on someone's duodenum.
You've got some Adrian Brody on you, and that can be quite toxic, particularly at this phase in his career.
Splice, Canadian's finest, like the Molson of movies. Splice begins with a birth. Clive and Ilsa are two scientists who work at a place called
Nerd.
They have just delivered a lumpy blob. The second lumpy blob they've created in the lab.
We have some doctors who've made life. They're also lovers.
You see,
our lab has combined the DNA from a variety of species to create a completely new life form.
They've called them Fred and Ginger. Isn't that cute? Look at those two lumps get along together. One of them's male and one of them's female. And they're in love.
These slug things can kind of replicate human tissues, and they can possibly solve all the diseases that we complain about.
They want to introduce human DNA into the mix. But the bureaucrats, including Barlow and this other chick,
Joan, a known French-Canadian, she's trying to shut down the whole operation.
The moral outrage would be completely out of control. I mean, regulators and politicians, they'd tear us to pieces.
Yeah, the regulators would be after us. Warren G., Nate Dogg. They'd be forced to regulate. Raps. Ilsa and Clive decide to do it anyway, before the lab gets shut down.
Cleavage, they're digesting fine.
So,
The human allo sequences don't want to bond with foreigners.
Stop mumbling. Just because you have an Oscar doesn't mean you can stop talking properly.
They do it.
Out pops a little embryo.
Fuck.
Exactly.
I get it.
No, I mean from that place. It just doesn't seem big enough.
Has Adrian Brody spoken above a whisper at all so far?
Come on. What's the worst that can happen?
They go back and they find that this embryo is going crazy inside the machine. Amniota me! Amniota me! DNA did a job on me. I'm a teenage amniota me. Ilsa reaches her hand in and it gets stuck. The thing has grabbed her by the hand.
Clive saves her.
And it's this flopping sack. It's a boy. Are you my pop?
I'd say give it about maybe 3 more minutes. Turn it another 2 minutes, and then she'll be ready to eat.
You gotta let it rest.
Oh, yeah.
Let it rest for at least 10 minutes.
It was a flesh husk.
And the egg has hatched. There's something in this room. It's a little boogans running around the lab.
Adorable little monster thing.
Don't worry, guys. I had the same problem with Cecil when he was a kitten. He was rambunctious. He got into everything.
Clive says, oh, we have to kill that right now because I've seen movies. Elsa says we can't kill it. It's alive right now. You know, just like the rules in your country.
So they let it live. They call it H50.
I don't know, I guess we'll find out in the autopsy.
Oh, I know that look. Tony gives me that look all the time. Meanwhile, Barlow, one of the suits, says that this lab needs to start generating profits. And these two need to slam dunk the shareholders meeting where they present Fred and Ginger. They're like, no problem, we got this. H50 is evolving by leaps and bounds. Growing arms, developing human facial features and such, wearing a little baby dress, learning how to spell. They decide to call her Dren, which is nerd spelled backwards.
Clive's brother Gavin also works in the lab.
Oh man, little brother is dead meat. He is so dead. One day Gavin is eavesdropping.
You owe Ridley Scott some money for this shot.
He gets attacked by Dren. Whoa, what is this thing? Clive says, zip it. I love you, Mommy. I will only sting you with my barbed tail twice. Dren gets a fever. What do you do with a fever? You stick him in an ice-cold bath. Clive takes matters into his own hands, and he shoves Dren under the water. He's gonna drown this abomination once and for all. Little Dren starts breathing water. That's right, she's got amphibious lungs.
See, that's all I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to kill our baby. No, I was just trying to prove that she can breathe underwater.
I have something special for you.
A gun.
The creature witnesses them having sex. And you can't even explain that's where she came from.
Ilsa and Clive got to go to that shareholders meeting. They present their pride and joy, Fred and Ginger. Hey, shareholders, look at how nice they make.
And something goes wrong. Fred and Ginger end up killing each other.
It's a bloodbath at the conference. It's like a Gallagher concert, but even worse, if you thought that was possible. Ginger spontaneously turned into a male. Happens in nature. Look it up. Dren is getting too big.
Elsa has a farm just outside of town, and so they bring her out there.
Little Dren runs off into the woods.
Dren!
They're gonna find Dren and she's gonna go, "You idiots! You have coveted my ice cream bar.
Dren, honey? Oh, Dren.
You so crazy." Elsa had a abusive childhood.
Just look at Elsa's childhood bedroom. It hasn't changed. Harsh childhood. Yes?
Bad childhood. Dren lives in the barn. She plays with little toys. She makes friends with a cat.
There are 26 letters in the alphabet. There are 26
All your favorite teaching songs by Stu,
Not today.
including "There are 26 letters in the alphabet." But she gets bored.
She wants to go outside.
Dren escapes. I'm out of here, bitches! She's about to fall off the roof when she sprouts wings. This is how fast she can evolve. Come on, wings? That's cool. Clive says, "We love you." And the wings go back in, and she goes back into the barn. She finds out that Dren has a cat.
You can't have a cat.
The cat can make you sick.
Can't always get what you want. It's a part of growing up, too.
Elsa might be becoming a bit of a mean mom, just like she had when she was growing up. But Clive, the good dad, comes in.
We can play some music.
"Yeah, I'm going to teach you how to dance." And Dren gives him the eyes, and he thinks, "Whoa, I almost got seduced by my daughter." He goes back and confronts Elsa. "Your DNA is in Dren, isn't it? Isn't it?"
I can tell.
"I've got great DNA, Dar."
Elsa feels like she's been being pretty mean to Dren, so she decides to give the cat back.
Dren gets a little wicked look on her face. She kills the cat.
Dren!
I'm not gonna kill you, I'm just gonna take the key to this prison you have me in, and I'm gonna go outside. But before she can get too far, Elsa clobbers her with a shovel.
When Dren wakes up, she's strapped to a table. We can't treat her like a human anymore, she's an animal.
I'm gonna take away all your human aspects, like this dress of yours. I'm gonna take away your more monstrous aspect, like this poisonous dark tail of yours. Clive comes home and he's like, "What the hell? You chopped up the kid." She's still alive, she just doesn't have her poisonous tail anymore, but I'm gonna take it down to the lab and I'm gonna see what I can do with it. She goes down, she works all night, and just like that, she figured out the solution to whatever the hell problem they were working on down to the lab.
You're an embarrassment to this company. It's going to take us
The
years to...
protein's been synthesized. It's in the fridge.
It's next to the macaroni salad.
So Clive's been left alone with the kid, and one thing quickly leads to another. That's for Halle Berry.
Clive and Dren make love.
You know, this has probably caused any number of people to have very strange fetishes that they can never achieve.
But they're caught by Elsa. Try to explain your way out of this one, Clive.
I synthesized the protein. Not technically my daughter!
Later on, she and Clive have a heart-to-heart about the whole thing.
You've become something sick.
"You interspecies horn dog."
I'm sorry, it's things are weird these days.
You know, science. They go back to the barn and they find that Dren is really sick. So sick, in fact, that she dies. They bury her, they burn all her stuff. Barlow and a little brother Gavin stop by. Gavin's like, "I spilled the beans about Dren." Barlow says, "Show me to Dren. Give it to me." Suddenly there's a swoop and Barlow is gone. Barlow's been killed. Dren has become Dark Dren. And Gavin, the brother, he's taken away. What happened to Dren? The same thing that happened to Ginger. Dren is now a male, and I guess a lot more violent. It's terrifying being chased through the woods by Marilyn Manson. He catches her. She's like, "What do you want?" Dren has his way with Elsa. There's a scuffle, hitting and stabbing. Elsa's got a big rock. She's about to smash Dren's head in, and he takes his little stinger, kills Clive. She kills Dren. Later on, she's having a conversation with Joan in the office. "The organism that you created is amazing. We're going to buy you out. Here's a big sum of money. You can't say anything about it."
Ever.
Forever, ever? Forever, ever? Forever, ever?
And she's the next step of the experiment.
She's pregnant. Probably not with a regular baby, but a super animal baby.
What's the worst that could happen?
We have been spliced.
Yeah, all over the place.
This is a twist on the classic Frankenstein story. Where it diverges is, rather than shunning their creation and letting it run off into the world, they actually try to raise and nurture it. Both options seem to be the wrong one. The only correct choice is to not make the creature in the first place.
Yes, as Joshua in Wargame says, the only way to win is not to play. In Frankenstein and all these other Frankenstein stories, there's always something of the father creator and the child monster. Yeah. And while with this, they're having both the father and the mother.
And the whole family dynamic brings a lot of elements into the classic monster story, like family history and parenting, and how you can't always outrun your upbringing.
Yeah, you're acting funny, but your mom was crazy. Maybe that's happening to you too.
Was their downfall love or hubris? Or both?
It was both, because if you look at what makes them keep it at the beginning, oh, we can't kill this precious little thing, but if that doesn't work on you, think about the science.
But is the pursuit of scientific innovation hubris?
No, not always.
Right.
You know,
I mean, it's not necessarily self-glorification.
Mm-hmm. But they did go against the will of their benefactors at the beginning and force things much quicker than they probably should have been.
Right. There were certainly no clinical trials.
Boom. Baby.
I suppose that was really the hubris. We can do it. They tell us we can't do it, but we can do it.
Yeah, pride. We had to slog through the first 15 minutes of the movie for the fun to get started. They had to give us a whole bunch of jargon.
A lot of laboratory porn.
Yeah, and
And really, do even scientists get off on laboratory porn? I don't think anybody does.
it's like, check it out. They got the Hewlett 43.
Look at that spectrometer. Ugh.
You have to see this thing that they've made, and
Yeah.
they could have cut to that a little bit quicker.
You gotta build. You have to build.
In the book Frankenstein, he does not get into detail of how he did it.
No, not at all.
And he explicitly says, I'm not going to tell you because I don't want anyone else to do it. And it's a great way for Mary Shelley to get out of some scientists being like, you can't do it that way. That would be impossible. You either have scientists who are like, nope, can't do it, or you have us saying, nope, don't understand it. You get to know our two main characters a little bit faster.
You get to know her. She has a personality and she has a backstory. We don't really get to know him.
If this movie makes me think of any Canadian, it makes me think of Mr. Cronenberg.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just little baby creatures going, yeah!
Yeah,
That's pure Cronenberg.
Flaws of the movie?
The few other characters that are in the film are very two-dimensional and poorly developed.
Yeah.
The suit is just like a, we need to make money.
And little brother is there as a sacrificial lamb at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't his little brother, you'd be like, why did that guy come out to the farm just to die? The names Clive and Elsa are cinematic allusions to Colin Clive and Elsa Lanchester.
I knew the Elsa Lanchester.
Yeah, of course, who played the Bride of Frankenstein, and Colin Clive played Dr. Frankenstein in the classic movie.
Final thoughts on Splice.
Kids sure seem terrifying. The entire concept of it.
You know, I was going to get up tomorrow morning real early and do some splicing, but now I'm not going to do it.
You're the editor of the show. Editing is splicing.
Shit!
Yeah, you can't get out of splicing or else nobody will be able to watch this.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to splice.
All right.
You may not know this, but we've synthesized the proteins over at our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. You can go there and see all the episodes we've ever made. They're all there. And there's a PayPal donation button. You can donate a few dollars to support our show. That's an important thing to do. You can make a one-time donation or you can make a rolling monthly donation. You donate a little bit every month and it helps us out and it's easy. Some of our monthly donors include Isabel, Jacqueline, Stefan, Bet, and Maura. Thanks, guys. And thanks to all of our donors.
Thank you.
If you want to find out who those donors are and see the exciting contents of our mailbag, that's right, people send us stuff and you can too at the address you see on your screen right now. If you want to see all that stuff, you can watch Unboxing, which comes out this Friday. It's a whole separate show, Craig.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it and participated in it for a number of months now.
And now, seen it. Get back in your box. Tonight's theme for Seen It is an old favorite, Seen It, Own It, where we delve into my DVD collection and find out what DVDs I own. But tonight's Seen It has a second theme, Bill and Bill. And you'll find out what that means later.
Factory Maid asks, I just watched Network last night and it might be the best movie I've ever seen.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Factory Maid. Seen it and own it. Thank you, Ernesto.
If you want an example of the word prescient or prescient, it is Network. This movie tells you everything we know about media today, and it was done 40 years ago. This is the 40th anniversary this year. It has not weakened at all.
Well, certainly not with the advent of reality television.
Yeah. Every single scene is a little bit of perfection.
William Holden does a great performance. Everybody does a great performance in this.
Peter Finch wins the Oscar.
Didn't Ned Beatty win an Oscar for one speech?
He was nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, he didn't
for
win.
one
Okay.
speech. But the woman who won Best Supporting Actor in this movie, and she's only in one scene. She plays William Holden's wife. My only problem with the movie, there's that kind of Black Panther-like organization. They're all sitting around eating Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it's like, really? You have your satire perfect, and it's like, here's our black characters, and look at them eating fried chicken.
I mean, I think that's kind of the tone of the whole movie, don't you think?
No, there's nothing that broad.
Black people eating fried chicken was a faux pas even then. So
Yeah.
just the fact that they were doing it is sort of like, well, we're being really irreverent.
But it's not a movie about being irreverent. It's not Blazing Saddles. It's a drama that's satirical.
From Bill Holden, we move on to another Bill, Billy Wilder. Alexander Sarg writes, Double Indemnity. Seen it.
Seen it.
And I own it, because I'm holding it in my hand. You just rewatched this movie recently, and you seem to have some kind of problem with it.
It was so revolutionary when it came out, and it was copied so many times for decades afterwards, that the first time you see it, you don't really get why it was so important.
You can't necessarily connect yourself to the historical context of it.
Yeah. The movie is so sexy, but it's hard for me to see young Fred McMurray as a sexual being. It's kind of like watching your high school math teacher hitting on a woman. And yet, in The Apartment, which was done 15 years later, I can imagine him hitting on women.
Right.
Because he's playing such a sleazebag.
Sure. I know we're not doing Seen It, Read It, but I did read the book, and it is amazing.
Is it?
It is totally different from the movie. I read the last page of that book, and I went, I did that. It starts out like, you know, Dashiell Hammett, and it ends like Camus. It is crazy. You've got to read this book. What do we have next, Craig? Another Billy Wilder film?
No, it's another Bill Holden movie. Wait, maybe it's
Both!
Adam Hames writes, I recently had the opportunity to see Sunset Boulevard in the theater for the first time, and I loved it. Seen it.
Own it.
A lot of people don't see him as a very cinematic, auteuristic filmmaker.
Oh man, they obviously haven't seen Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, there's like, the framing of that movie is perfect.
The meta-realism of the silent stars playing washed-up silent stars.
Yeah.
But they're real-life silent stars. I mean, that's just... that. I'm sure that had not been done before. What do we have next? Another Billy Wilder movie? And another Bill Holden movie?
I think so.
Ursin Turkilamaz says, have you seen Stalag 17? Oh yeah, I have.
Seen it.
And I can watch it anytime I like, because it's here in the house. I think you have expressed that this isn't one of your favorite movies.
No, it's not. I don't think that this movie balances the comedy and the drama well enough.
The comic relief sometimes is quite grating. I think it's from being very dated. The whole tapestry of POW life that they present seems so authentic. And the ending of this is really great.
That's Seen it.
And that's our show. We watched Splice. Craig picked it. It's not my fault. Splice. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. We hope you'll join us next time. This time I get to pick the movie as it should be, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and we will see you then.
Yes, goodbye.
I synthesized the protein.
Yeah, so did I about an hour ago.
It's 10 times higher than the level that Ginger and Fred ever had.
And 10 times the sexiness. Fred and Ginger were pretty sexy, little humpy slugs.